All right, party people. I'm on a walk with Maisie, so I thought I would do a little quick video on my thoughts this morning. I know how ridiculous this is since I just did one yesterday and nothing is happening on a Saturday, but I continue to be completely perplexed by all of the facts in this case, and I would like to talk them out with you right now. The biggest issue I have is if you go back through Merck's conference calls, going all the way back to Q2 of 2024, they're very clear that they want to focus on life sciences. And that's where all the major M&A money is going to go. In fact, they even use the word majority of their M&A firepower to life sciences. They have $15 billion in firepower. Like I said before, $5 or $6 billion deal is a big chunk of $15 billion. But all that being said, we know it's a fact that Merck was in advanced talks with SpringWorks. If we know that's a fact, and we know that it couldn't have happened for less than $5 billion, maybe $4.5 billion, then there's a complete disconnect between what they've said and what they're doing. Given that disconnect, it's hard to take anything they say at face value. But if all they were trying to do is force price on SpringWorks, I still believe they would have acted in a more measured way, as going to the market next week or in 2 weeks and doing a $5 billion deal after basically saying we will only do small deals and we will be very disciplined is the exact opposite of what you just said on Thursday. So why didn't they notify the market and say we are no longer pursuing an acquisition in SpringWorks? Wouldn't that be the easiest way for them to put aside all this nonsense and have people not worried about them wasting capital on a healthcare M&A deal? Yet they didn't do it. So there really are only two possibilities of why they didn't do it. And it's not because they didn't have to do it. It would have been in their best interest to do it if the idea is to put aside the rumors and put it dead once and for all. So what are the two possibilities about why they didn't do it? One is that they are still going to buy SpringWorks, and two, that there's a very small chance they might still buy SpringWorks. If it's one, that they're going to buy SpringWorks, I just don't know how they talk like that in that conference call. It doesn't make any sense to me. I can't figure it out. Two, if there's a small chance they might buy SpringWorks, what would be the reasons why it's a small chance versus a full chance? There are only two reasons. One, they couldn't agree on price, or two, there's an interloper and somebody has beat them in price. I do not believe 4 weeks after Reuters, it's about more than 3.5 weeks after Reuters, that you would be at a position where they could not agree on price. In fact, I don't think Merck would have put out an advanced press release regarding SpringWorks if the price had not already been agreed upon that week. So if you believe they agreed on price, the question is, why then do we not have a deal? I only had two options for you. And then the only other option is there's an interloper. I can't come up with any other rational way for how things have played out, including the canceling of the conference call, which they did not have to do, and then canceling all these conferences. Okay? So what was the Merck price? And what's a fair price here? Well, the stock was trading at 40 before Reuters, but in the mid to upper 30s for most of January and December, even mid 30s. You have to factor in the approval. It is worth more after your drug's approved that people are expecting a non 100% chance of it being approved. So the true unaffected really still is, like I've said in the past, probably in the mid 40s, not in the mid 30s. Even a $60 price is just a 33% premium to mid 40s. That's not a big merger premium. So while my biggest concern is that Merck is ultimately the buyer here, and they only pay $55 to $60 a share, I have a hard time seeing how that's even possible, given the sequence of events as I've laid them out. My best guess is that Merck bid between 55 and 60, maybe as much as 60. They agreed on the price. They purposely did the leak so that they can see whether or not there's anybody else that's interested. And Merck was okay with that because, again, either they're going to be beat out post-signing with a breakup fee which is embarrassing, or they're going to be beat pre-signing. And the only way to truly vet the market is by doing a leak or doing a full process. You have to assume they did not do a full process. And then now you have someone that comes in and offers to pay more than 60. And then you have Merck act the way they did in their conference call 3.5 weeks later, coupled with SpringWorks canceling their presentation next week. The math on the company is pretty simple. They have 2 drugs. Both appear to be pretty unique, either best in class or first in class. And it seems quite possible that each drug can do $750 million to $1 billion in sales and has a very long patent runway. Given that, it's definitely not unheard of that someone could pay 4 times $1.5 billion or $6 billion for the company. If you add the $500 million of net cash and the PRV, you get to a stock price well in advance of $70 a share. And I don't think any of those numbers are that aggressive. So while on one hand, I'm sitting here terrified that there's no way Merck's going to pay a strong premium from $50 or $52 a share, and I can't figure out why Merck hasn't walked yet. But on the other hand, all signs point to Merck not being the buyer here, that they've been outbid, and that we're going to find out who is the ultimate buyer in the next week or two. I want to remind you that the CEO is a masterclass, has a masterclass bio for something like this, right? He was chief business officer at 2 companies before this and an investment banker for 12 years before that. So I don't think you can get to this point without them having at least a bird in the hand, but I think they have 2 birds in the hand. And I think that's the reason why we are where we are right now. As to why we haven't gotten any other leaks, the leaks are done for a purpose. In the case of the Reuters article, it was very likely to vet out other buyers. At this point, you don't do a leak because you don't need to do a leak if you have a bidding process happening right now with competitive bidders. And a lot of companies will say if it leaks, we're done, right? We're not going to continue forward. So keep the process tight. That's where I am. I still feel really, really good about it. It's hard to feel good about things when they're not working, and especially when I have such a big position on. So I'm obviously very nervous, but if I look at all the facts as they've been presented to us, it's extraordinarily hard to see how this doesn't end up in a deal, and it's hard to imagine how that buyer is Merck. If I'm wrong and the buyer is Merck, everything that they've done from their words from Thursday to their words in January at JP Morgan flies in the face of their actions, because they're going to be spending, $5.5 billion on this company, and it's probably not going to be accretive at the beginning. So, one other thing I wanted to say: Merck hasn't done a major healthcare deal in like 10 years. We know for a fact Merck was in advanced talks to buy this company. I think that kind of speaks how interesting these assets are. If a company that's not an aggressive acquirer, hasn't done a major deal in over 10 years, was about to spend $4.5 to $5.5 billion, which is 1/3 of all their M&A firepower on SpringWorks. Hadn't really thought about that. So if they, which a non-aggressive purchaser, finds these 2 assets attractive, what about the other 3 or 4 much more likely acquirers that are more aggressive and have more firepower? Shouldn't they be able to pay a higher price and find more value in this than the very conservative German Merck? I would sure think so. So that again leads to the fact that there's probably another bidder, or more than one other bidder. And I feel really good about it. I still feel really good about it. All right, sorry about the sun. See you guys maybe tomorrow. Bye.